Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you are no longer hoping, no longer waiting. You are not in lack. You are not chasing. You are now. Feel the weight of the world lifted from your shoulders, not because someone saved you, but because the version of you who is already free, already wealthy, already standing in the flow of $50 million, 0 cents, has awakened. Let me remind you of a truth that has been buried beneath your doubts. You already have it. There is no need to hustle harder, to beg the world to give you more, or to ask permission from life itself. Creation is finished. All versions of you already exist, and the one with $50 million, 0 cents, is just one assumption away. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not when the evidence shows, right now. You must walk, talk, breathe, and rest in the knowing that it is already yours. Because money does not come to the needy. It comes to the one who knows it is already theirs. You are not poor. That is a memory, a phantom, a fading echo of an old state you no longer occupy. What you feel now, deeply and consistently, will clothe itself in form. Imagine it now. Your accounts overflowing, your home reflecting abundance, your freedom unshaken by circumstance. Imagine not as a beggar, but as a creator, not as a wish, but as a fact. Do not ask how. The how is none of your business. The universe rearranges itself around the feeling you sustain, and your only job is to persist in that state until what is invisible becomes undeniable. You do not wait for wealth, you become wealth. You do not wait for a miracle, you are the miracle. So think this way, $50 million, 0 cents is already mine. I'm not going to get it. I have it now. I accept it. I feel it. I live from it. Say it until you believe it. Then believe it until you no longer need to say it, because you'll be living it. And that's when the world will catch up, not because you earned it, but because you finally claimed it. Breathe, forget where you are, forget who you've been, forget what is in your bank account, and forget the world that tries so hard to remind you of what you lack. Instead, step into the secret place, the inner sanctuary where all things are possible. Here you are free, here you are powerful, and here you already have the $50 million, 0 cents. Don't just imagine it as a number in an account. Feel what it means. What does it feel like to know you never have to worry about money again? What does it feel like to wake up and realize that life is now on your terms, that everything you once dreamed of is now simply your reality? This feeling, this inner experience is the bridge. It is the link between the desire you hold and the world that reflects it. Most people try to force life into giving them what they want. They work tirelessly, striving, hustling, hoping, begging, all from this state of lack. But what they do not see is that life responds not to effort, but to assumption. The assumption that it is already done, that it is already yours, that you are no longer desiring it, but living from it. The secret is not in doing more. The secret is in being more. Be the person who already has it, not in pretense, but in awareness. If $50 million, 0 cents, were truly yours now, how would you walk? How would you think? How would you speak? You must dare to enter that version of yourself and dwell there, not as a visitor, but as a resident. You see, desire is only the beginning, it is the spark, but feeling is the fire. Feeling is what sets the wheels in motion. It is the signal you send out to life, the language the invisible world understands. When you feel lack, the world mirrors back more lack. When you feel abundance, it must reflect abundance. Do not wait to see it in the outer world before you believe. That is not creation, that is reaction. Creation happens in the unseen. You create with your inner world, and the outer world has no choice but to follow. So, train yourself to feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not just in moments of meditation, but in every idle moment. Feel it, embody it, let your imagination be bold, let it be real. Picture yourself walking through your dream home, not as a dream, but as a memory. Hear your voice on the phone with your banker, moving millions. Feel the texture of the life that belongs to you. Let it take over your senses. Let it rewrite your reality. This is not fantasy. This is the law of consciousness. What you accept is true within yourself becomes the truth you walk through. So never again say, I want, for wanting implies you do not have. Say instead, I am. I have, it is done, because in the realm of spirit, it is already so. You are not imagining to create it. You are imagining to recognize what has already been created. You are not convincing the universe. You are convincing yourself, and once you believe it, the world will bend to that belief. The feeling is the key that unlocks the door. It is the proof of faith, the evidence of things not yet seen. So live from the feeling, let it consume you, let it guide you, and one day soon you look around and realize What you once imagined is now your life. What you see right now, the life you're living, the people around you, the money in your account, the job you hold, it is not the cause. It is the effect, the result of the imaginal acts you've once accepted as true. You may not remember the exact moment you imagined these things into being, but you did. Everything around you was first created in your mind. Every experience, every condition, every so-called coincidence, it was shaped by thought, molded by imagination, and sustained by belief. We are taught to believe that what we see with our physical eyes is the real world, but this is the great illusion. What you call reality is simply the solidified version of your inner world. It is a mirror, a delayed reflection of what you have accepted and entertained within yourself. If you do not like what you see, there is no use in fighting the reflection. The only transformation that lasts is the one that begins in the mind. Imagination is not some playful distraction. It is divine. It is creative power. It is the workshop of the world. Everything you've ever built, touched, loved, or lost was first born in the invisible realm of thought. So why do we doubt it? Why do we look at our present circumstances and believe they are fixed, unchangeable? Because we have forgotten the truth. The outer world is not the master. It is the servant. If you want to change your life, you must go to the root, and the root is within. No one can see what you're imagining, but everyone will witness its effects. Do not underestimate the power that lies behind closed eyes and a quiet mind. In that stillness, you are shaping nations. In that inner silence, you are rewriting your life. The moment you begin to imagine a new reality and accept it as real, not someday, not maybe, but now, you begin to plant seeds in consciousness. And like every seed, it needs no effort on your part to grow. It only requires your faith. Water it with your attention, nourish it with repetition, protect it from the weeds of doubt, and in time it must bear fruit. You cannot imagine one thing and expect another. You cannot dwell in poverty in your mind and expect riches to knock at your door. You cannot hold on to memories of failure and hope success will bloom. Life is just. It gives you exactly what you assume to be true, and that truth is not determined by your words, but by your inner state. So you must imagine differently, boldly, radically. You must dare to believe that your imagination is more real than what your senses report, because it is. The senses only tell you what was. Imagination tells you what can be, and if you persist in the assumption of your desire, your senses must eventually confirm it. They have no choice. Begin now. Choose a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Live in it. Return to it. Let it become your dwelling place. When doubt arises, remind yourself, the world is only echoing past assumptions, but I am no longer that version of myself. I see differently now. I feel differently now. I imagine differently now. The world does not change first. You do. And once you do, the world cannot help but change with you, because imagination is not a dream. It is the foundation of all that exists. It is the only reality. Hold fast to it, and everything else will follow. It is a quiet power that moves mountains, opens doors, and multiplies wealth. And it does so without noise, without struggle, and without force. It does not shout. It whispers. It lives not in the world of action, but in the stillness of your inner being, and it is there in the silence of your mind that all things are claimed. You have been taught to fight for money, to strive endlessly, to wake early and run faster, work harder, push beyond your limits. You've been told the world rewards those who hustle, who bleed, who sacrifice everything just to taste a drop of financial freedom. But that is not how true wealth is made. That is how it is chased, and often how it slips through your fingers. The real source of wealth is within, and it does not respond to desperation. It responds to acceptance. You do not have to convince the world you are worthy of money. You do not have to beg life to bless you. You only have to accept in the quiet sanctuary of your own mind that it is already yours. This is not denial of reality. This is mastery of it. Because reality is fluid. It bends to the assumptions you hold in consciousness. And when you claim something internally, not wishfully, but confidently, the world rearranges itself to match that inner knowing. So, what does this claiming look like? It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is subtle. You sit in stillness. You close your eyes and you feel the truth of it. You hear the inner voice that says, I already have more than enough. You do not argue with it. You do not doubt it. You accept it as your new state of being. In this state, there is no need to hustle to prove yourself. There is no need to compare yourself to anyone else. There is no need to worry about how it will come. The how belongs to the wisdom of life itself. Your only role is to claim it. Think of the wealthy version of you, not in the future. Now, what are they thinking? How do they feel about money? How do they walk through the world? They are not frantic. They are not anxious. They are calm. They are certain. They expect abundance. And therefore, it finds them not because of effort, but because of alignment. This is the secret most ignored. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are, and you become what you assume. So assume the role now. Be the person who already has it. Feel that peace. Feel that confidence, not for 5 minutes, but for as long as it takes until it becomes natural. Let others chase. Let them stress. You have found the still place, the place where all things begin, and from that place you speak not to the world, but to yourself. I have it, and that quiet claim echoes into the fabric of reality, weeding the events, people, and opportunities that lead you exactly where you belong. There is no need to announce it, no need to prove it. What is truly yours cannot be taken. What is claimed in consciousness cannot be denied in the outer world. So speak not with your mouth, but with your inner vision. Declare not to others, but to yourself again and again until your soul believes it. And when you believe, the world will reflect, not because you forced it, but because you claimed it in the silence of your mind. When you play the lottery, do not play with hope. Do not play with doubt hiding behind your smile. Play as the one who already holds the winning ticket in consciousness. Before the numbers are ever drawn, before you ever see a result, go within and see it, feel it, claim it. Understand this. What you see in the physical world is nothing but the delayed reflection of your past states of mind. So, if you play while thinking, maybe I'll win, then you are not creating, you are gambling. But when you persist in the assumption that you have already won, even before the physical evidence appears, then you are doing what the world calls impossible, but what is simply natural law. If the numbers come and they are not yours, do not flinch. Do not fall into despair. Do not say, see, it didn't work. That is doubt speaking, and doubt is the denial of the gift. It is the dismissal of what you have already claimed in spirit. Instead, say quietly to yourself, this is just the bridge. This is not the end. I still have it. It is already mine. You do not beg for what you already own. You assume it. You dwell in it. You let the world catch up. Play the lottery with a different mind, not the mind of chance, but the mind of certainty. Hold the ticket and feel the joy as if you are already holding the winnings. See yourself celebrating. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Let it be so real in your inner world that the outer world has no choice but to bend toward it. This is the way of manifestation. The world responds to conviction, not loud, desperate shouting, but quiet, unwavering belief. True manifestation is not waiting to see if it will happen. It is knowing it already has, and when you persist in this way, with unwavering inner knowing, with joy, with bold expectation, the lottery, like all things, becomes a tool in the hands of your consciousness, a mirror that simply reflects what you dared to believe in silence. So, the next time you play, go inward first. Assume the feeling. Claim the win in it. And then, no matter what the numbers say, persist. The unseen is more real than the seen. And when you believe that magic happens, when you play the lottery, do not ask. Do not plead. Do not say, I hope I win, or please let this be my turn. That posture, that energy keeps your desire at arm's length. You cannot be in the state of asking and the state of having at the same time. The one who asks is still without. The one who knows already has. Before you ever hold the ticket in your hand, know that it's the winning one, not because of luck, not because of odds, but because you have already accepted it in the deep silence of your mind. This is not about superstition, it's about alignment. When you align with the state of being a winner, life rearranges itself to fulfill that inner knowing. You see, when you ask, you place yourself below the desire. You are the beggar looking up, but when you know you become one with the thing itself, you are no longer reaching, you are receiving. That's when the magic begins. So, when you play as the one who already knows it is done, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Feel the gratitude before you ever see a result. Feel the joy, the peace, the relief, not someday, but now. Let those emotions wash over you like a wave, not because something might happen, but because it already has in your imagination. When doubt whispers, when the mind wants to check the outcome and worry, return to the knowing. Return to the truth. Remind yourself, I am not hoping, I am not wishing, I am dwelling in the end I know. This is the greatest secret. Your world does not respond to asking. It responds to assumption. It responds to your inner conviction, to the vibration you carry in stillness. When you become the version of yourself who already has what you desire, the outer world cannot help but conform. So treat that lottery ticket as a mirror of your consciousness, not as a gamble, but as a symbol of what you've already accepted as yours in imagination. You don't need to beg life for abundance. Life is always reflecting what you are willing to be. Feel it so deeply within that even if the result tells you otherwise, your faith remains unmoved. That's when the shift happens. That's when you step out of the old story. You are no longer the one hoping to win. You are the one who has won, and the world is simply catching up. So play the lottery, but play differently now. Play from the end. Play from the knowing and watch what happens. When you play the lottery, don't play toward a future win. Play from the win already being yours. Do not live as someone hoping something will happen. Live as the version of you in whom it already has. This is the difference between chasing a dream and embodying a truth. The one who lives from the end is not waiting. They are being. Most people play and then wait, eyes fixed on numbers, breath caught in hope. But that energy declares, I do not have it. And what you are, the state you occupy, must be reflected back to you. So if you remain in the state of waiting, of lack, of desire, then waiting is what you receive. Lack continues. The desire remains unfulfilled, but when you live from the end, from the state of already possessing the $50 million, 0 cents, the universe has no choice but to echo that vibration. The outer world bends to the inner reality. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are giving it. You take the ticket, and before numbers are drawn, before anything real seems to happen, you close your eyes and see your life as if it has already unfolded. You walk through the house that's now yours. You hear the calls you would receive. You feel the sense of peace that $50 million, 0 cents brings, not as fantasy, but as fact, and then you live from that truth. You don't check your bank account in fear. You don't wonder if you should keep playing. You don't question whether it's possible. When you live from the end, you align with the frequency of the thing desire. You are no longer saying, I want to be rich. You are silently saying, I am rich. And so the world moves to match that declaration. It may seem like magic, but it's law. The inner state is the blueprint. Reality is the outpouring. So the next time you play the lottery, see yourself as already having won. Don't wait for the evidence. Don't wait to feel the joy. Don't wait to celebrate. Do it now inwardly, and then walk as that version of you throughout your day. Hold your head like someone who already has $50 million, 0 cents. Speak with the calm of someone who never worries about bills again. Let that energy saturate you. The numbers are not the source. You are. The ticket is not your hope. It is your mirror, and when the inner man is aligned with wealth, the outer world delivers it by whatever means necessary. Now you understand $50 million, 0 cents is not a fantasy waiting in some distant future. It is a state of consciousness already alive within you, waiting to be accepted, not asked for, not begged for, claimed. When you assume the feeling of already having it, when you persist regardless of appearances, when you stop asking and start knowing, you become one with the thing you desire. You are no longer separate from it. You are the cause. You are the creator. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is the only true reality. What you dare to feel real, what you dwell on in silence, what you boldly embody now, that is what your world must reflect. So the next time you play the lottery, don't play for the win. Play from the win. Live in the end where the desire is already fulfilled because it is. This is not about luck. It's not about numbers. It's about consciousness, and you have full control. Let the world catch up to your knowing. Let the evidence unfold, but you remain unmoved, remain convinced, because $50 million, 0 cents is already yours. Think this way, and nothing will be impossible for you. Thank you. Thank you for walking this journey of awareness with me. Thank you for choosing to be leap bigger. Thank you for daring to claim what is already yours. Now go, not as the one who wishes, but as the one who knows, and watch the world respond. That power that created and sustains all things is not outside of you. It is within you. It is your consciousness, your awareness of being. The universe cannot say no to you because the universe is not separate from you. You are the universe expressing itself as a human being, having a temporary human experience. Tonight, I want to share with you the secret of effective prayer. Prayer is not begging or beseeching an external deity. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you know how to ask properly, there is no power that can say no to your request. Let me share with you a passage from Scripture that reveals this truth. In the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, we read, "Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." The secret lies in these words, believe that you have received it. You must first assume the feeling of already having what you desire before it can manifest in your world. Most people are constantly asking from a state of lack and wondering why their prayers go unanswered. They pray and affirm but remain in the same state of consciousness that does not have what they are seeking. This is the fundamental error. To ask in such a way that the universe cannot say no, you must ask from the state of fulfillment, not from the state of desire. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret and the art of successful prayer. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple example. If you desire financial abundance, do not pray by saying, "God, please give me more money," or "Universe, I need financial freedom." This is asking from lack, and your very prayer is a confession of your current state of poverty. Instead, you must assume the feeling of already being financially abundant. How would you feel if you were already financially free? What thoughts would occupy your mind? How would you carry yourself? What conversations would you have? When you assume the feeling of financial abundance, when you sleep in the assumption that you are now financially free, you are asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, for the universe can only reflect back to you your own conception of yourself. Remember the words of the prophet Isaiah, "Before they call, I will answer." This is a profound psychological and spiritual truth. Before you call, before you ask, the answer is already prepared. Your assumption, your state of consciousness, determines what you will call for and consequently what will be answered. I recall a gentleman who attended one of my lectures in New York. He approached me afterward and said, "Mr. Goddard, I've been praying for a promotion in my company for 3 years with no results." I asked him, "How do you pray?" He described the process of visualization where he would see himself being congratulated, receiving a new title and a higher salary. But I asked, "What is the feeling you embody after this visualization?" He confessed that he returned to feeling frustrated that it hadn't happened yet. I told him, "You are undoing your prayer with your subsequent feeling state. You must not only visualize the end result, but also see in the conviction that it is done." I suggested that he assume the feeling of already having received the promotion before going to sleep each night. Within 2 weeks, he received not just a promotion, but a position 2 levels higher than he had initially thought. This is the law and it never fails. But you must understand that your conscious assumption, though false to your senses, is persisted in will harden into fact. The time it takes for your assumption to become fact depends on the naturalness of the feeling, how deeply you're embracing the new state. Now, there is another aspect to asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, and that is detachment. Many of you have heard of the importance of detachment in manifestation. But detachment is often misunderstood. Detachment does not mean not caring about your desire. It means complete faith that it is already yours in the spiritual realm and must by law materialize in the physical realm. True detachment comes from the conviction that what you have assumed in consciousness is already a fact in the spiritual realm, which is the realm of causation. The physical realm is merely the realm of effects. Cause always precedes effect. Your consciousness is the cause. Your world is the effect. Let me share with you another example to illustrate this principle. A young woman came to me in despair over a marriage. Her husband had left her for another woman, and all logical evidence suggested that the marriage was over. I asked her if she truly wanted her husband back. She confirmed with tears in her eyes that she did. I told her, "Your task is simple, but not easy. You must assume that your husband has returned and that your marriage is more harmonious than ever before. You must live from the end. When you go to sleep at night, feel the joy and gratitude of having your husband back. Feel his presence beside you in bed. Hear his voice expressing his love for you. Feel the wedding ring on your finger. Do this with conviction and the universe cannot say no." She practiced this faithfully for 3 weeks. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, unexpectedly, her husband called. They met for coffee, which led to dinner. And within a month, he had moved back home. But here's the interesting part. He told her that during those 3 weeks, he couldn't stop thinking about her. He felt inexplicably drawn back to her, despite his logical mind telling him to stay away. This is how the law works. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are exercising the divine power within you, which is your imagination. and your imagination sustained with conviction will externalize itself in your physical reality. I want to emphasize that this is not mere positive thinking or wishful thinking. This is the application of an immutable spiritual law. The Bible calls it faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the feeling of possession of the things desired. Faith is coming from a state of knowing. Faith is coming from a state of knowing, not hoping or wishing. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. How exactly do you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled? It begins with a decision. You must decide what you want to be, to have, or to experience. Be specific. Be clear. Then, you must construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire. For instance, if you desire a new home, create a scene where a friend is congratulating you on your beautiful new home. Feel their handshake or embrace. Hear their voice. Smell the freshness of your new space. Feel the emotion of pride and gratitude for having your new home. This scene, if constructed with sensory vividness and emotional intensity, and if persisted in until it takes on the tone of reality, will materialize in your physical world. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, because you are not asking in the traditional sense at all. You are claiming, you are appropriating, you are assuming, you are exercising your divine right as a creator made in the image of God. I must stress that this principle applies to every area of your life: health, wealth, relationships, career, spiritual growth, and more. There is no limit to what you can achieve through the proper application of your imagination. Consider the case of physical healing. If you are experiencing illness or physical discomfort, the conventional approach is to focus on the problem, to fight against it, to see it as an enemy to be conquered. But this keeps you locked in the consciousness of illness. Instead, assume the feeling of being perfectly healthy. Feel the energy coursing through your body. Feel the joy of pain-free movement. Feel the gratitude for your robust health. This feeling state persisted and will manifest as physical well-being. I recall a woman who had been diagnosed with a chronic condition that doctors said was incurable. She came to me in desperation, having exhausted all medical options. I taught her this principle of assuming the feeling of her wish fulfilled. I instructed her to go to sleep each night in the assumption of perfect health, to feel the joy and gratitude of being completely healed. Within 3 months, she returned to her doctor for a checkup, and to the doctor's astonishment, there was no trace of the condition. The doctor called it a spontaneous remission, a medical miracle, but it was no miracle in the sense of a violation of natural law. It was the perfect operation of the law of assumption. She had changed her concept of herself, and her body reflected that new concept. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Nebu, what about the time gap? What about the waiting period between my assumption and its manifestation in the physical world? This is where most people falter. They cannot sustain the faith through the interval of time. They begin to doubt, to question, to look for results. And in doing so, they revert to the old state of consciousness, the state of lack. The key is to understand that time is merely a psychological construct, a measurement of the interval between events. In the realm of spirit, in the realm of consciousness, there is no time. Your desire is already fulfilled the moment you assume the feeling of its fulfillment. The time it takes to materialize in the physical realm is determined by various factors, including the naturalness of the state to you and the degree to which you persist in the new state. Do not be concerned with the how. The universe, God, your own wonderful human imagination, will take care of the how. Your job is to remain faithful to the end, to the state of fulfillment. As you do this, the bridge of incidents will form naturally to lead you to the physical realization of your desire. Let me give you another example to illustrate this point. A man desired to travel to a foreign country, but lacked the financial means to do so. Instead of focusing on the lack of money, he began to assume the feeling of already being in that country. Each night before sleep, he would imagine smelling the distinct aromas of that country's cuisine, hearing the local language being spoken, seeing the famous landmarks, and feeling the unique texture of the local fabrics. He persisted in this assumption for several weeks. Then, out of the blue, he received a call from a company that was expanding into that very country. They had seen his resume online and wanted to interview him for a position that would require him to relocate there. Not only would they cover his travel expenses, but they would also provide a salary that far exceeded what he was currently earning. Was this a coincidence? There are no coincidences in a universe governed by law. It was the perfect externalization of his internal state. He had asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. I must also address a question that often arises. What about the desires of others? What if my desire conflicts with someone else's? This stems from a misunderstanding of the nature of consciousness. Consciousness is one, although it appears to be many. There is only one God, one imagination, expressing itself through countless human forms. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not imposing your will on another. You are simply attracting to yourself the circumstances, people, and events that match your state of consciousness. Everyone is you pushed out. The world is yourself pushed out. What you see in others is a reflection of your own consciousness. If you want to change your world, change your concept of yourself, as within, so without. This is the ancient Hermetic principle, and it is as true today as it was thousands of years ago. Now I want to share with you a technique that I have found particularly effective in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the technique of revision. Revision is the art of mentally rewriting a past event to align with your desired outcome. By revising the past, you are actually recreating your future, because the future is a projection of your past beliefs and assumptions. For example, if you had a disagreement with a colleague at work, instead of carrying the negative energy of that encounter, revise it in your imagination. See the conversation going harmoniously. Feel the mutual respect and understanding. Hear the words of agreement and cooperation. By revising the past event, you are changing your state of consciousness and consequently your future interactions with that person. Revision can be applied to any past event that continues to affect your present state of consciousness negatively. By mentally rewriting these events, you are asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. Another powerful technique is the use of affirmative prayer, or what I call imaginative assertion. Unlike traditional prayer, which often takes the form of petition or supplication, affirmative prayer is the declaration of what is already true in spirit. It is claiming what is already yours by divine right. For instance, instead of saying, "God, please heal my body," say with conviction, "I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy." Feel the truth of these words. Embody them. Let them permeate your consciousness until they become your dominant state. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no, because you are not asking from a place of lack or need. You are affirming the truth of your being, the truth of who you really are. I want to emphasize that the techniques of visualization, revision, affirmative prayer, or any other are merely aids to help you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The techniques themselves are not the power. The power is in your consciousness, in your ability to assume and persist in a state. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados to visit my family, but I lacked the funds to make the journey. Instead of dwelling on my lack of resources, I began to assume the feeling of already being in Barbados. Each night before sleep, I would imagine lying in my familiar bed in my family home in Barbados. I would hear the distinct sound of the palm trees rustling in the Caribbean breeze. I would smell the salt air and feel the warmth of the tropical climate. I persisted in this assumption for several weeks, falling asleep each night in the feeling of already being in Barbados. Then, one day, I received a letter from my brother in Barbados. Inside the letter was a ticket for passage to Barbados, a gift from my family. The law had worked perfectly. My internal assumption had externalized itself. This is the law, and it never fails, but you must apply it correctly. You must ask from the state of having, not from the state of wanting. You must embody the consciousness of already being what you want to be, already having what you want to have, already experiencing what you want to experience. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Many people believe that they must get rid of all negative thoughts to manifest their desires. This is not true. Thoughts and of themselves do not create reality. It is the feeling, the emotional state, the consciousness that creates reality. You will always have passing thoughts, both positive and negative. The key is not to identify the negative thoughts, not to dwell in them, not to make them your whole. Instead, choose deliberately the state you wish to occupy and persist in it despite any contrary thoughts or appearances. This brings me to another important principle, the principle of attention. Whatever you focus your attention on, you energize and manifest in your life. Your attention is like a spotlight. Whatever it illuminates becomes your reality. Therefore, be selective with your attention, directed consciously toward what you want, not toward what you do not want. If you want health, do not give your attention to illness. Do not give your attention to illness. If you want wealth, do not give your attention to poverty. If you want harmonious relationships, do not give your attention to conflict. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. I once worked a businessman who was facing financial ruin. His company was on the verge of bankruptcy, and all external evidence pointed to an inevitable collapse. I taught him the principle of attention. I told him, do not give life to the bankruptcy by dwelling on it, by talking about it, by feeling the despair of it. Instead, direct your attention to the state of financial prosperity. I instructed him to create a mental scene that implied the financial turnaround of his company. In his imagination, he crafted a scene where his accountant was showing him balance sheets indicating substantial profits. He felt the relief, the joy, the gratitude of this turnaround. He persisted in this mental exercise for several weeks. During this time, an opportunity presented itself that he would have missed had he been focused on bankruptcy. This opportunity led to a partnership that not only saved his company, but propelled it to new heights of success. This is the law in operation. By directing his attention to the desired state, by dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. I want to underscore that this principle is not about ignoring reality or living in denial. It is about understanding the true nature of reality. The external world is a shadow or reflection of internal states. By changing your internal state, you inevitably change the external reflection. Think of it this way. If you are looking at your reflection in a mirror and you do not like what you see, it would be futile to try to change the reflection directly. You must change what is being reflected yourself. Similarly, if you do not like what you see in your world, you must change the concept of yourself, your state of consciousness. This brings me to another crucial aspect of asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. Self-concept. Your self-concept, your idea of who you are, is the foundation of all your manifestations. Everything you experience is a reflection of your concept of yourself. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will manifest experiences that confirm this unworthiness. If you see yourself as a victim, you will manifest experiences of victimization. If you see yourself as powerful, loved, and abundant, you will manifest experiences that confirm these qualities. Therefore, the most fundamental change you can make is to change your concept of yourself. Assume the feeling of being the person you want to be. Live from that assumption. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. I recall a young actor who came to me discouraged by his lack of success in the film industry. Despite his talent and dedication, he had been unable to secure significant roles. When I inquired about his self-concept, he revealed that he saw himself as a struggling actor, always on the periphery of success. I told him, that is your problem. You are assuming the state of struggle, and the universe is faithfully reflecting back to you that state. You must change your concept of yourself. You must see yourself as a successful actor in demand for major roles. I guided him in constructing a scene that implied his success in the industry. In his imagination, he would read reels praising his performance in a major film. He would feel the satisfaction, the pride, the fulfillment of being recognized for his talent. He persisted in this new self-concept for several months. And then, as if by magic, though it was not magic but law, he was called to audition for a significant role in a major production. He secured the role and his performance was indeed praised by critics, just as he had imagined. This is the law. By changing his concept of himself, he changed his reality. He asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. Now, I want to address a question that often arises. What about collective events or global conditions? Can my individual consciousness affect these? The answer is yes, but with a caveat. Your experience of the collective is still your individual experience. You can only experience what matches your state of consciousness. For instance, in times of economic downturn, some people experience hardship and lack, while others experience opportunity and abundance. Same external condition, different individual experiences because of different states of consciousness. Therefore, do not be concerned with changing the world. Be concerned with changing yourself, your concept of yourself. As you do this, your experience of the world will change. And as more individuals do this, the collective experience changes as well. I want to emphasize that this principle is not selfish or self-centered in a negative sense. It is simply a recognition of the law of consciousness. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot project what you do not possess within yourself. By focusing on your own state of consciousness, you are actually serving others in the highest way possible, by becoming an embodiment of what you wish to see in the world. Let me share with you one final example to illustrate the power of this principle. A woman I knew desired to help the homeless in her community. She volunteered at shelters, donated money and resources, advocated for policy changes, all external actions coming from a place of compassion, but also from a consciousness of otherness, of separation. Despite her efforts, she felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of the problem and frustrated by the seeming lack of progress. I suggested a different approach. Instead of seeing the homeless as separate from herself, as others to be helped, I advised her to assume the state of consciousness where homelessness was already solved. In her imagination, she created scenes where the once homeless individuals in her community were now living in comfortable homes, engaged in meaningful work, integrated into society. She felt the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of this fulfilled state. As she persisted in this new state of consciousness, something remarkable began to happen. She found herself inspired with new ideas and approaches. She connected with individuals and organizations that shared her vision. Resources that were previously unavailable suddenly materialized. Within a year, her community had implemented innovative solutions that significantly reduced homelessness. Was this a coincidence? No, it was the law in operation. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by asking from the state of fulfillment rather than from the state of lack or problem, she asked in such a way that the universe could not say no. In conclusion, I want to remind you of the core principle we've explored tonight. The universe cannot say no to you when you ask from the state of fulfillment, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is the art and the science of effective prayer. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume you become, what you believe you receive, what you embody you manifest. The external world is a shadow, a reflection of internal states. Therefore, choose wisely the state you wish to occupy, dwell in it, live from it, fall asleep in it, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to reflect back to you your new concept of yourself. The power is within you. It has always been within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination, which is God in action. Use it deliberately, use it lovingly, use it wisely. When you know how to properly from the state of fulfillment, rather from the state of lack, there is no power in heaven or on earth that can say no to your request. For in truth, you are not requesting anything. You are claiming what is already yours by divine right. Go forth now with this knowledge. Apply it in your daily life. Test it, prove it to yourself, and experience the freedom, the joy, the abundance that is your birthright. Remember, always you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. You are the God of your universe. Ask from that place of power, from that place of knowing, and the universe cannot indeed, it will not say no. I thank you for your attention tonight. Blessings upon each and every one of you. May you go forth and create deliberately, consciously, and joyfully. I have shared with you tonight the principle that transcends all religious dogmas, all philosophical systems, all cultural traditions. It is the principle of consciousness, the principle of imagination, the principle of assumption. It is the principle that Jesus taught when he said, "Therefore, I tell you whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." This principle has been taught by the great spiritual teachers throughout history, though often veiled in symbolism and allegory. Tonight I have attempted to unveil it, to present it in its naked simplicity so that you may apply it directly in your life. The great secret is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Everything that you experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. Change your consciousness and then you change your world. This is asking in such a way that the universe cannot say no. As you leave here tonight, I encourage you to begin immediately to apply this principle. Choose a desire, something that you truly want to be, to have, or to experience. Construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of this desire. Enter into the scene, make it as vivid and as real as possible. Feel the emotions that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Then, each night as you go to sleep, replay this scene in your imagination. Fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do this faithfully, persistently, and you will be amazed at how quickly your external reality begins to rearrange itself to match your internal assumption. Remember, the universe responds not to your words, not to your thoughts, but to your state of consciousness, to your feeling state. When you feel that something is real, when you embody the state of its reality, the universe has no choice but to reflect back to you that reality. This is the true meaning of faith. Faith is not belief in the unknown. Faith is the feeling of the known. Faith is the feeling of possession of that which is not yet visible to the senses. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you operate from faith, when you live from the end, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are asking in such a way that the universe say no. I leave you with this final thought. You are divine. You are God in human form. The power that created and sustains the universe resides within you as your own wonderful human imagination. Use this power consciously. Use it lovingly, and there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. Go forth now and create the life of your dreams, for indeed it is your divine right and your divine responsibility to do so. Thank you, and God bless you all.